Yeah. How do you? You're working with the defense. How do you think you're getting you're going to get her off here?
Well, you know, I mean, it's something that Mark said. This is not a normal family. And basically, the bottom line is this, is it's going to come down to two circumstantial stories, competing stories. And the jury's going to be instructed that they must find for the defense story if there's any doubt about the state story. The state can't even tell you how this occurred.
But it's already been established in this case that Casey is a habitual liar. So they can't trust anything she says, including her claims of abuse. Has that ever been chronicled before?
Well, actually, no, I don't think that it has. It came out, you know, and it was a big bombshell when it came out. But some things that they have heard is that she was a great mother. She loved her child. She has no motive.
They got the pictures. They had testimony to that fact that she was a great mother. Does a great mother, after her daughter is either killed, missing, whatever, carry on like those pictures show? Is that the reaction of a loving, concerned, distraught mother? In my opinion, you know, I would hope that no. But, you know, this is going to look at that and conclude no mother that lost her child or was that loving or had a missing child, depending on which version of the story you believe, is acting like this. But I haven't been abused, and perhaps some of the people on the jury have. It's going to be a mystery to whether or not they have a better understanding of it. It sounds like, you know, not guilty by reason of insanity. It sounds like, all right, well, this last-minute Hail Mary pass, oh, I was abused, and therefore I didn't react in a normal way. It doesn't seem that it's going to add up. It doesn't add up in my mind. I don't see how the jury's convinced.
Well, Sean, let's look at this. Okay, I was abused as a child by my brother and my father and several other people. And so I snapped and I struck a child. I hit a child. I pushed a child. That is one thing. But when a complete separate event occurs and a child dies accidentally, as Mr. Baez said, she drowned accidentally, then where is that connect to abuse to the death? It's not there. It's completely absent. Now, if it's absent, the conduct afterwards does not show a loving mother, and he's established that she knew that child was dead on June 16th. Yeah. Right, Mr. Baez now has put before the jury.
You're really good at discerning when people are lying. Who do you sense is lying here?
Well, certainly Casey Anthony has not told the truth about this, but let's look at this. You sit in jail for 3 years and the district attorney's office is bringing a death penalty case, and you have an opportunity to come forward, tell the truth about an accidental death, mitigate a death penalty case, maybe mitigate first-degree murder, and instead you let your daughter decompose and you let 3 years of your life go by. It doesn't make sense. Somebody's lying. All right. I think I'm with you. Good luck. I don't think you guys have a prayer. That's my take on it, but I appreciate you being here. Time to check in with Greta Van Susteren for a sneak peek.
Boy, things are so weird here in Washington, Sean. I just don't know what to say, what's going on here.
Oh, you know, don't get me started. This show's already lost all.
I don't get this one. What? I really don't get this wiener thing. I really, you know, if you'd asked me on Friday, I'd said, oh, it's nothing. It's just weird. And all he does is he keeps making it a bigger story. He keeps giving us more tape. Hole.
I agree with you. You're right.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, we have Donald Trump tonight, and he had dinner in Times Square, had pizza. I don't even know what kind of pizza he had. Anyway, he had dinner with Governor Sarah Palin, so we're going to be the fly on the wall and find out what he had to say. And Governor Nikki Haley is here. She's in a spat with Secretary of Homeland Security Janet Napolitano. So who's your money on? I'll ask you that, and we have much more. Back to you.
All right, Greta's coming up in 18 short minutes from right now. Let not your heart be troubled. A great American panel. More on the Wienergate scandal next. And tonight on our Great American panel, he's the former Secretary of State of the great Buckeye State, Ohio, author of the new book, Resurgent, How Constitutional Conservatives Can Save America. Ken Blackwell's back with us. She was Miss America 2008. Kirsten Hagelin is here. He's a columnist, radio host, and author of the brand new book, Primetime Propaganda, the true Hollywood story of how the left took over your TV, including Elmo. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, Wienergate. Well, what do you think? The story is getting more bizarre by the day. You knew Jerry Springer.
I was going to say, I served on city council with Jerry Springer, so nothing surprises me.
He paid a hooker with a check.
Yes, but
6 months after his marriage.
He was contrite. He resigned. He, in fact,
Contrite, resigned, then went on to run the...
And then he went on to not only to serve on city council and become mayor, he in fact then went off and became an anchor on the local NBC News affiliate.
Yeah.
And then started his own show.
Yeah, we know what a classic hit that is.
And that's the issue. It's going to be interesting to see how contrite, the congressman is.
You know, I wonder if you get in these situations, if you're not better off, Lanny Davis, who I never could tell the story, tell it all,
There's way too many questions that he is not answering, like why he only follows about 250 people and why so many of them are young women. One of them is a prostitute. I mean, why? And he wouldn't even answer, is it you?
But let me ask you a question. You're Miss America 2008. You're an attractive young lady. Do you find that older men are like this? No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Maybe this is an inappropriate question, but I'm...
No, it's totally appropriate.
No.
When you're a public person, you put yourself out there, especially as a woman, and people are going to listen to what you say. That's
like
what I value the job, but
men,
also what you look like.
Older married men do this.
Unwanted. Yes, you do get some unwanted attention, and you have to be cognizant as a public person what you're putting out there. He should have been more responsible. And this looks like an accident. He calls it a prank. Whose prank was it?
By the way,
was
it does not happen to talk show hosts.
Never
did. Athletes, Miss America, not rock stars, not talk show
hosts. But not talk show hosts.
My whole theory is that he's trying to get into Fruit of the Loom ads. And he's following the Spitzer pattern here, right?
He's looking for his new career.
New revenue streams, absolutely.
You spent all day thinking about that.
I absolutely did.
All right, we've had violence. Let me show you some of the video here. We've had violence in a number of cities over the Memorial Day weekend, Long Island, Boston, Miami, Charlotte. And let me just give you one example, and all sorts of story about youth violence all around the country. And we're not just talking about violence here. We're talking about, real serious, near riots breaking out, or in some cases, real riots breaking out. What's going on?
Well, look, I haven't been a former mayor of a city. One of the things I know is that in Chicago, for instance, what's in Chicago, McDonald versus the city of Chicago, the Supreme Court said that folks needed to be able to arm themselves to protect themselves. And the city of Chicago has, in fact, ignored that, but yet and still, the gangsters on the street, they, in fact,
a lot of this has to do with lack of, especially among young people, lack of parent supervision and the breakdown of the family structure. And additionally, a culture that glamorizes violence in the media and in our television makes it normal. I mean, similar to what you talk about in your book, a culture that says violence is okay. It's an okay way to respond instead of behaving like adults.
You talk to kids a lot.
Yes.
I mean, are they living in that environment when you
Especially girls, young girls that think the answer is beating each other up. I got a question at a middle school. Did you ever want to fight with pageant contestants? I said, no, I didn't want to fight them. Like, why? I said, why would you want to do that?
Well, I mean, I think this tends to happen every summer. I'm surprised that the mainstream media hasn't really picked up on this. I mean, it really took Drudge to pick up on it.
Yeah, it's true.
And, if this had been Bush who was president, you guarantee that this would have been on the front page.
Fault.
Yeah. Bush's fault, absolutely.
If you dog bite and the bee stings, it's Bush's fault. All right, when we come back, we have more with our Great American Panel. You're taking on Elmo.
Absolutely.
You're beating up Elmo.
Yeah.
Kids are going to be upset. More with our panel, straight ahead. And we continue now with our Great American Panel. Every kid in America is going to hate you. You're taking on Elmo and Sesame Street and Big Bird in your book.
Yeah, I kind of want to take him out back and cap him. But no, that's not what the book's about.
Ouch. Ouch.
No, not at all. But the primetime propaganda is really about the liberal bias in the Hollywood industry. I went and spoke to the biggest creators in TV over the last 50 years and had them admit to me on tape that, yes, they bias their programming in a liberal direction. Yes, they definitely discriminate against conservatives in Hollywood. And if you're conservative in Hollywood, you just won't get work.
How did Elmo and Big, how is Elmo liberal? Could you describe how they push their agenda?
I mean, I talked to one of the guys who's at Children's Television Workshop originally, and he said that the whole purpose of Sesame Street was to cater to black and Hispanic youths who, quote unquote, did not have reading literature in the house. So there's kind of this soft bigotry of low expectations that's automatically associated with Sesame Street. And by the way, if you go on the Sesame Street website, it talks about when you're bringing up your child, make sure that you use gender-neutral language. Make sure that you give your boys dolls and make sure that you give your girls fire trucks.
And that's setting up a problem. Just this year, a high school in Virginia named a guy who was openly gay as prom queen. So sometimes, fiction does inform reality. And as Ken Kukowski and I lay out in our book, there's a direct assault on this country's moral foundation, and that's a problem because.
Now, you speak to a lot of young girls, a lot of groups, and you're going to be out on tour actually all summer. You're going to be giving a lot of speeches.
Yes.
a lot of kids, you know, the values of young people today scare me because we're robbing them at earlier ages of their childhood. They know more, they do more.
It's very concerning. They have an access to more media at a younger age than at any other time in our nation's history. And what you're also seeing is more parents at work away from their children, not monitoring what they look at. And so I grew up watching Sesame Street, and I turned out to be a good conservative. But I had parents that we watched other things, and we talked about the meaning of them, and that's what's missing. It's not just Sesame Street. It's the
This is how old I am. I mean, I grew up watching Green Acres and Andy Griffith.
Yeah, before the shift. That was before the shift.
Yeah, honestly. I Love Lucy and the Honeymooners.
But artists have been liberal, have been more liberal than the general population for centuries.
Have you even heard of these shows I'm mentioning? You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I could whistle the Andy Griffith song. Yes, I know what you're talking
about. I'm just checking.
What really concerns me is that if you look at any big government regime, any authoritarian, totalitarian regime, they've attacked two basic intermediary institutions, the family and the church. And that's what's happening in our culture right now. And it sets up an appetite for governmental largesse. Government becomes the family. Government becomes, you know, the leader.
Look, I think liberals are so sanctimonious in their desire. They think their morality is so superior. You know, when you think about it, they feel like they can circumvent the values of parents when they go to school, teach them things that they themselves are teaching the opposite of. They don't do the basics, reading, writing, and math. They think redistribution is morally superior, but they only use other people's money to get there.
They'll admit it. I mean, people in Hollywood actually admit that this is their agenda. And
what did the Friends guy tell you again?
Oh, well, Marta Kaufman, who is the creator of Friends, actually said to me that an episode in the first season of Friends was, direct quote now, an F you to the right. And these people say this openly in the comfort of their own homes. Yeah, that's what they feel like they should be doing. These are a bunch of limousine liberals who, by and large, feel bad about the fact that they're very wealthy. And so in order to justify that, they have to shock the bourgeoisie. They have to slap us across the face.
I don't understand. If they're so wealthy and they got, you know, all these moral values, instead of saying, why don't they start their own, you know, charities and donate to all the liberal causes they want?
Exactly. That's what they should do. But it's a basic difference in worldview, and that usually liberals and people on the left, secular humanists, believe that human nature is ultimately good.
What
whereas
percentage
conservatives believe
of young
it's not,
people like both of you, because you're both younger than Ken and I, what percentage of people agree with you that you meet your age?
I don't know, 45%?
Oh, 20%?
20.
And here's the problem, Sean. We are rapidly becoming a culture where earning money doesn't entitle you to it, but wanting money does. It's been a frontal attack on the old-fashioned work ethic in this country.
All right, guys, great panel tonight. Good to see you all, and that is all the time we have left. Let not your heart be troubled. We toss it to Greta Van Susteren. By the way, she has a Wienergate update coming up as she goes on the record. Greta.